Well, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome outgoing club chairman, Mr. James Brayshaw, to present our next award.
Hi everyone. What an honour and a privilege it is to follow Michael Frito up onto this stage. I'm going to get to him in just a moment, but this is a really special night for our club, of course. The club champion is enormous in the history of our place. Always great to see so many people here. I think we're close to 1,000, and in this great venue with this amazing warmth, it's just wonderful. I want to add my congratulations and thanks to what's already been said about the departing legends. I've got in trouble speaking at this function before because I've said sort of things that have ended up sort of chomping into what people coming next were planning to say. So I'm not going to do that tonight with the two people who you're going to hear from, other than to say that for Drew Petrie and Brent Harvey, it's really hard to put into words what these two people have contributed to our footy club. I think it's nearly 40 years and nearly 800 games. They deserve everything that's going to be said about them tonight and going forward, of course. But they both know how important they are to us, I hope. For Drewy to come down from Ballarat as a sort of red-headed, pimply-faced kid. Really, at that stage, when he was 18, he was quite a high draft pick, but none of us really knew where he was going to play at the time. And for him to blossom into the player he's been and the person he's been, I remember talking to Wayne Carey because Drewy started just as Duck was finishing, and the greatest compliment Duck paid to him is he said, "I had no idea that this bloke would ever end up being the unbelievable player he's been." And for that to come from arguably our greatest ever player tells you all you need to know about Drew Petrie. But as well as that, he's a wonderful person, and that talks to his beautiful parents, and of course Nikki, his amazing wife, and the kids and the family and all the support that's turned Drew into the person he is. So Drewy's getting up here later, and as I said, I don't want to step on any of that. I also don't want to do that with the superstar that is Brent Harvey. Just quite extraordinary what Boomer's put together in his 21 years at our club. 5-time best and fairest, no one's done that. Games record holder, of course, no one's done that. And as Scotty correctly pointed out, no one has ever prepared to play with our jumper on better than Boomer. So he has an enormous amount to be incredibly grateful for and proud of. But also a premiership player, of course, and they're cherished at our club. So Boomer's going to get up a little later on, and I know you'll all go nuts, and so you should, because there is an absolute superstar in life and at our footy club. I want to personally thank Nicky Dowell. When he made the decision to move from the Saints as a free agent, a lot of you in the room won't know that he had 3 or 4 options of clubs to go to. We are very, very thankful that he chose North Melbourne. He's played 3 unbelievable years at our club, as Scotty said, all of those in the finals, 2 of them prelims. And that, for me, with Dal, is what I'll remember most when he's wearing our number 15 jumper, which is, of course, a very famous one at North, is that when he ran out in big games and finals, he got the job done every single time. He also embraced immediately what our club's about. Not everyone gets North Melbourne and the whole Shinboner story and what sort of really flows in the blood and the veins of our place. But Dal got it straight away. The moment he walked through the door, he was loved immediately by everyone, and rightly so. So to Nick and Jules and the sort of burgeoning family they've got going, all the best for everything that's coming your way, and that'll be wonderful and successful. Spud Frito, off the rookie list, as we just said. A 280-plus gamer, and that'll be sorted out, but I always reckon Spud's meant much more to our place. Hugely popular among the playing group, the members and the fans, as we heard just a moment ago. Always had a massive smile on his face, Spud, the 15 years I've known him, which isn't always a great thing because his teeth are heading all over the place. Got the sort of weird-ass nose and everything. But for me with Spud, the thing I will always remember is the way he flew the flag whenever anyone wearing our jumper was in any form of strife on the field. He was the first one in. He reminded me of John Worsfold, actually, back in the West Coast Eagles days. It didn't matter where a blue happened on the field when Woosha was captain of the West Coast. He just abandoned whatever the hell he was doing and ran 100 metres and started belting the crap out of whoever caused it. And that was really what Spud did for us. And I shudder to think how much money Spud's coughed up in wrestling fines over the years. But he epitomises, for what Scotty said earlier, what a shin boner is. His impact on our club's been immense, and I thank him for everything he's been and all that he's done. I also, before I finish on the retiring players, for Farron and Robbie as well, I want to thank them because they've both been fantastic and, again, brought straight into what we're about. But all the girls are really important. And, you know, Spud just mentioned Bonnie, and I just mentioned Jules, who's on her way for a second. Nikki Petrie, who's been a part of what our club's about for close to 20 years, and Shane Harvey, who's been a part of our club for equally the same amount of time. Been incredible girls. And their boys wouldn't have been able to be the people they are and play the footy they have without the great support they've received at home. So thanks to those four amazing women. Also the parents as well, and you know, Ma and Pa, Farito, who we've seen right throughout the journey, and of course Boomer's amazing parents and Drewie's fantastic parents who have come down from Ballarat, and Dal's from Bendigo. Nothing happens without good breeding and class within that breeding, so all the families have been wonderful. Now, I begged the board, as I just asked for 5 minutes of silence, I begged the board and the senior management of our club for an indulgence as I was exiting, and I'm very grateful for the fact that they agreed so readily. I get a lot of great North Melbourne people come up to me, all walks of life, here and overseas. They're always very gracious, and they always say things like, JB, I just wanted to say thanks for everything. You've saved our club. The reason I know that sentence not to be true is the man who actually saved our club is here tonight. Back in 2007, when the decisions were made around whether we were possibly able to remain at the North Melbourne Footy Club based out of Arden Street, or whether the strain had broken and we needed to head north, the real truth has always been that without the towering backing of Peter Scanlan, it didn't matter what else occurred or who else was involved, there would have been no option but to relocate. I'm going to embarrass Peter by giving you some of the details behind what he's done for our club, and it's never my intention to embarrass this great man, but back in 2008, we needed $15 million to build our long overdue facility. We had a significant shortfall in building equity, and Peter, on behalf of his beautiful family, donated $2 million at that point. He then, through his incredible foundation, established and ran as the chairman the Huddle, which most people in this room know is a groundbreaking, envied and multi-award winning community program that's not only the best within the AFL, it is also the best within sport in this country and has been awarded so. We were then faced with funding issues around our football department in 2009-10. At the time, we were a long way behind, in fact, too far behind the best in competition. And again, Peter, on behalf of his family, was generous enough to make up the shortfall so that we could fully fund and run what is now an unbelievable footy department. In the 9 years I've been chairman of this club, Peter has contributed upwards of $10 million to the running of this club and its programs. As ludicrously generous as that is, Peter has been even more generous in a commodity that he, like all very successful people, have the least amount of, and that's his time. Every single time we as a footy club, or I as the chairman, have approached Pete with a problem we or I couldn't solve, or maybe to attend a meeting where we knew City Hall were going to be at their least cooperative, Pete was there immediately. And believe me, in a couple of those meetings with City Hall, when we knew the disco dancing was about to start, when we walked in that room with the great Peter Scanlan, the air suddenly went out of the room and the AFL's whole demeanour changed. It's very easy to stand out the front of anything with confidence when you have someone like Peter Scanlan standing behind you. He's been a wonderful friend, a confidant, a supporter and backer of our board, of our staff, of our coaches and of our playing group. And in closing, and I want everyone in this room to understand this, the most astounding thing about this man is never, in the 9 years I've spoken about, has he ever asked for anything in return. Never once. So in closing, whenever any North Melbourne member or supporter makes the pilgrimage to Arden Street, before they walk through the doors, they should pause for a second and quietly thank Peter Scanlan, because without him, there simply would not be a North Melbourne Footy Club. Before I get too emotional, I want to get back to the indulgence I begged of the board and the senior staff a month or two ago, and that indulgence was that we bestow life membership on Peter tonight, and I can't think of anyone who deserves this honour more. So ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the newest life member of our footy club, the incomparable Peter Scanlan.